It's Friday, I head in my usual route along the Westway and I've got to decide where I'm going to start my shift. Keeping it easy, I just head straight to Paddington Station, as there's nothing quite like the feeling of turning right into the mouth of the station and seeing, is there loads of cabs there or is there no cabs there? Today, there's a few cabs there, but I can see the rank is moving, so I sit here for a bit and eventually get my first job. The lady hops in and says Holloway Road. Little bit of talking and she says she wants to go to Hornsey Street, right by Holloway Road station. As we exit out the forecourt, you can see the receipt pad man. He's just sat there on his makeshift seat, but he just sells receipt pads to us cab drivers, so bit of a legend of the cab trade, I guess. Now, it's not always ideal starting my shift with a long job like this. Because I haven't driven through or across London yet, I have no idea what the traffic conditions might be like. Out of the forecourt, around the roundabouts and up into Warwick Avenue, before I settle to go via Little Venice and St John's Wood. We get right into Blomfield Road and we sit for a little while at these traffic lights. They can be a bit hit or miss. Left Maida Vale, right St John's Wood Road. From St John's Wood we go through St John's Wood Circus, Prince Albert Road, and it comes as no surprise that as we leave the borough of Westminster and work into the borough of Camden, the traffic all of a sudden starts. We gradually get through Parkway and that pulls us out onto Camden Road, past that rather weird architectural Sainsbury's right at the start of the Camden Road. All the way up, along past Camden Skate Park, and we're going to forward into Parkhurst Road. There's no use for the bus lane on this route because I need to be getting into the right hand lane. What I've opted to do is to come a little bit high above the point and then come back down Holloway Road and come in that way. You can see this whole area right near the junction of Hornsey Road is quite busy. I dropped the lady there. Yes, it was a bit of a long and possibly not the greatest route, but we're there all safe and sound. On the way back in, I stop in the Shell petrol station just to quickly grab a snack and go to the toilet. Pro tip here is that most Shell petrol stations will have toilets inside of them. Upon leaving the petrol station, I get to use the handy bus lane all the way down to Highbury Corner. There seems to be a hell of a lot of traffic in this area, but despite this, it's quite a long drive down to my next job, which is on Goswell Road. Now, as we've got a bit of time on this drive, I can talk about the sponsor of today's video, and that is me. Yes, today's video is sponsored by My Sunday Summary. Now, thank you to those who already subscribe to this, but if you don't, I'd highly recommend it. Basically, every Sunday I put out a free email of what I'm working on, what I've discovered in London, and just general curiosities. As an example, last week I shared the website City Stack. I'm not sponsored by them, but I thought it was great and people who love London are going to love this. It's basically a stack of beer mats that you pay £20 for. You get 10 beer mats and you go take them into a variety of independent pubs across London. And that was just something that I just found one week that I put into my Sunday summary. It's full of these kind of things. I'd highly recommend joining it. Best of all, it's entirely free of charge. Just hit the link in the description down below or go to my website tom.taxi/newsletter. If you've already subscribed to it, then please do leave a comment down below if you do get value from it, just so it helps spread the word. I love making it. It's one of the things I do in conjunction with this video. Now, we're just about at Goswell Road to pick up my next passenger. Let's check it out. Now, right on the separation of Aldersgate Street and Goswell Road, this lady wishes to go to Gray's Inn. So instinctually, I come down, turn right into Long Lane Smithfield and work my way through the meat market. As we're going through the meat market, the lady asks, is it possible to stop in High Holborn? She wishes to pick up a friend. Not a problem. Doesn't really change too much because it's the direction I was heading in anyway. At the time of recording this, I couldn't get to Charterhouse Street. That would force me back up into the St John Street area. So I've had to come all the way down along to Snow Hill and then come up Farringdon Road. Now, this day was particularly hot. I always run the air conditioning at a constant temperature in my cab. It's the same as what I have up front, so if I'm sitting in it all day, I know it's going to be nice and cool. The trouble is, I think a lot of office people are used to having such freezing cold aircon. They expect to get in the cab and it's going to be like Ernest Shackleton, like ice cold sort of stuff. So, lady gets in, she opens up the window. When we get to this point on Snow Hill, she asks me, have I got air conditioning? To which I replied,
Yeah, it does. Just with not very good with the window open, that's all.
I know it works fine because the lady before even commented on how nice the air conditioning was. Check this out. There's some construction works going on here. My light turns green. You can spot that the cycle lane has a red light. Can you spot the cyclist? I'll give you a little bit of time to have a little look. Okay, let's continue. Yep, that's the one. We go through Holborn Circus by the Sainsbury's headquarters, take that out onto Holborn, and follow it forward all the way through to High Holborn. The lady lets me know that her friend is just a little bit further up. I'm quite careful where I'm stopping here because if I go any further, then I have to come back on myself. I know that I've got to get to Gray's Inn, so I stop right by that junction of Southampton Place, meaning that I can still get it to continue on the journey. I don't want to make a rod for my own back here, I just want to get through the job and get done as quick as possible. Bloomsbury Square, work our way back to Theobald's Road, come down Drake Street, Red Lion Square, Proctor Street, left into High Holborn, and we can get to this entrance of Gray's Inn. I head in the direction of the West End. Not getting a job on the street, I jump on the Covent Garden rank at Russell Street. There's no other cabs there, so I'm straight on point.
I'm going to sit on Russell Street. I'm just going to sit here. That point's right around, it's probably...
This gentleman casually hops in and asks for Fulham. It's super simple, comes to me instantly. We've just got to get out of Covent Garden, get ourselves onto the Strand. As soon as we pull off, my preconditioned levels of air conditioning, the gentleman's very quick to open the window. Of course, we get to Exeter Street, and it doesn't take long for him to ask, does the aircon work? All the way along the Mall. We can't use Grosvenor Crescent as that's still shut, as we've learnt from earlier on in this week of shifts. So get ourselves out onto Buckingham Palace Road, follow it all the way through Pimlico Road, Royal Hospital Road, get ourselves out onto the Chelsea Embankment. It's likely to be a little bit congested at this time of day, but what area of Chelsea and Fulham won't be? Then work our way up onto the Fulham Road and get our gent to wherever they need to go. He wishes to be dropped on a side street just near Munster Road. You know, a lot of passengers will do that. They'll sometimes get in and just say, Munster Road, please, driver. And en route, they'll just say, oh, I'm just this road up here. Well. 3 jobs in. 5:30. But I feel pretty worn down already. Nice and clean, yeah. Conversation about air conditioning in this cab typically goes, you can do it 2 ways. You can either lock the windows, and then if you lock the windows, they'll get in and go, oh, can I have the windows open? You'll be like, well, I've got aircon on. Do you want aircon or windows? And you go, oh, I'll have windows. Or if you don't lock the windows, they just open them as soon as they get in the cab as a matter of habit. And you get, 2 minutes down the road and they say, oh, driver, can you put some aircon on? Some customers can work out how to do the, there's like a little panel in the back so you can control the air conditioner in the back. The trouble is that anyone given unlimited access to an air conditioning unit will just put it on ice cold. 22 is just the average kind of middle of the road temperature. If you go down to like 18, like unless you're like a penguin, I'm going along down the road, so it's going full chat. I'm like, right, okay, well they've got it, they've managed to find a setting, whatever, they're happy. Next thing you know, I'm going down Royal Hospital Road, I look in the back, both windows are fully cracked right open. You're like, I just can't win. Just cannot win. Sometimes some customers do it as like, they just want to exert an element of control. It's just enough of those things to be like, oh, can we go that way or that way? It's like, it's just them sort of telling you, like, I'm the boss, like, let me do what I want to do. I haven't got into any sense of a role yet. I like getting into a rhythm, a flow, a role, generally, because it takes a while to get into central London and you get a few jobs in central. But I've just been, Paddington, Holloway, one in central, and then one out here. So it's all right, but we need to get those little ones under the belt. We need to get some smaller jobs going. I work my way down to the New Kings Road and I cruise past the Kebab Kid restaurant. Now that is an establishment I need to share in a future video. Well worth going there. I go all the way along the King's Road, through Sloane Square, and it's amazing. The height of summer, it can still be quite difficult to find a job in this quite popular area. Not until I get to Sloane Street, where I pick up this lady just after another cab that's picked up here as well, and she wishes to go to Charlotte Street via the Mayfair Hotel. Nice, that'll do us perfectly. So, to get ourselves there, the Mayfair Hotel is on Stratton Street. I know that Grosvenor Crescent is shut if I was coming in, but I can get out onto Hyde Park Corner. So that's what I'll do. I'll go up Sloane Street, get a right going past the Jumeirah Hotel, or the Jamiroquai, as one of my friends likes to call it. Work our way into West Halkin Street, go around Belgrave Square, and we exit out onto Grosvenor Crescent. Now, annoyingly, because Grosvenor Crescent is shut on the inbound road, it's actually made pulling out onto Hyde Park Corner a lot worse. So basically, a lot of the traffic that would be coming around Hyde Park Corner, some of it would be peeling off into Grosvenor Crescent. Because they can't do that, it's all forced up towards Knightsbridge, meaning that there's about 4 lanes of traffic that we'll have to contend with by pulling out here. Takes a little while, but we eventually get out, and I can work our way along Piccadilly. Piccadilly, super easy from here. We turn left into Stratton Street, and we go past Langan's Brasserie, once owned by a certain Maurice Micklewhite, or Sir Michael Caine to you and I, and we drop at the Mayfair Hotel. I just have to sit here for a little bit. I move up off of the taxi rank just in case any cabbie behind me might want to rank here. We wait for a little bit and they hop back in, and we continue on to Charlotte Street. Left Berkeley Street, go around Berkeley Square, and we pull ourselves out onto Bruton Street. From here, work into Conduit, and then we do a left into St George Street. Now from here I'm going to go up to Hanover Square. Traffic builds up a little bit here at Hanover Square, but it's certainly better than sitting on Regent Street. Harewood Place, Holles Street, and we're going to go around Cavendish Square. From here, that sets us up very neatly for the forward into Mortimer Street. All the way through Forward Goodge Street. I quizzed them en route. I know they're most likely going to be going to the Charlotte Street Hotel kind of area, and they are. So we turn right, we set them down there. As I'm dropping, notice these people here who are kind of hugging. I love this. It's one of the cues that you can get where, you know, after the hug, 1 or 2 people might want a cab afterwards because obviously they've met up and now they're departing. I think these people have just met up, so it's the wrong way round, but they're great things to look out for when you're looking for your next job. And I see this hand go up, albeit a frail hail. The lady says she wants to go to the Central Park Hotel. My little trick for remembering this is that it's on Queensborough Terrace. Why? Because Central Park is New York, Queens is like a borough in New York. I don't know if the two are linked, but there you go. That's my little trick for remembering that. But then she says, oh, actually, can I get out? I said, what? She goes, yeah, sorry, my Uber's just turned up. There we go. But no dramas, because I'm quite near to Oxford Street, so I'm very likely to be picking up another job soon. I managed to get this couple. Now they want to go to the Circus restaurant, right in the north of Covent Garden. It's made worse in this particular example because of Camden Council's disastrous remodelling of the Seven Dials area. They want to go to Endell Street. How will we run it? Well, first of all, we've got to drop this gentleman to get a shirt. So I literally spin round so we're in the correct direction of their restaurant, and I spot a Moss Bros.
What about Moss Bros? Is that anything decent there, or?
And I talk with his girlfriend a little bit in the back. She lets me know that this is the kind of thing that he always does. He generally has a panic and has to go buy some new piece of clothing before they go out. Hops back in, and away we go. We go forward into New Oxford Street, we get right into Bloomsbury Street, and as we go down right near the Shaftesbury Theatre, we can see Endell Street directly in front of us. And years ago, you used to be able to just drive forward, get the left into Endell Street, and bosh, would be sorted. But no, this is now the route we have to take. So we've got to go down Shaftesbury Avenue, which luckily at this time of day is pretty clear. Trying to do this when the West End is loading up is like the worst thing on earth, because Shaftesbury Avenue inadvertently always builds up. We're going to get a left into Mercer Street after the Mercer's Company, who own much of the land and properties here within Covent Garden. We have to go around Seven Dials, that once slums back in the days of Charles Dickens. I'm having to look at my map because I can't even remember the streets because it's that convoluted. We leave it by Shorts Gardens and then get our right into Endell Street, and then we can drop the gentleman there. So I go to this restaurant here on Upper St Martin's Lane for a quick breather.
That is a perfect example of why I don't work Oxford Street. Someone's just found the knob for like tourists and just gone, yeah, let's turn these up today. But yeah, I've got like a mate who like swears by like working Oxford Street, because you just roll up and down Oxford Street, and a lot of cabbies do it because it's just so many people. You roll down there, you pick someone up. But in the case there, I'm thinking we're like on the east end of Oxford Street. Us cabbies, we call it the poor end of Oxford Street, because you have like the cheaper shops and you have like Selfridges and all the other stuff up the other end, like down the west end, like towards Marble Arch. I'm thinking, where am I going to get him a shirt? And obviously he wants to stop, get out and then go do the shirt. And it's like 6:30, so there's cycles everywhere, there's buses everywhere. You're trying to mentally calculate, where is the nearest shirt shop? I've then got to get him onto Endell Street. Where can I stop? I'm stopping near a bus stop. How long are they going to be? Is there going to be a camera on me that's going to find me for sitting on this double yellow for too long because he's gone in to go get a shirt? What if I've got to move on? I've got his girlfriend in the back and he's in the shop. How's he then going to find me? What if I have to do a U-turn? That's why I don't work Oxford Street, and generally why I don't like working Fridays. It's just carnage. Gonna breathe for a bit, maybe stretch the old Mystic Megs around the outside of the cab and just chill. We'll get somewhere.
And as I pull away, I managed to grab this job, which is to go to Euston Station. Now, this route I'm about to do is probably one of the best outcomes from the fact that we can't drive the full length of Tottenham Court Road and that Gower Street has become two-way. What it does is that it really unlocks Torrington Place. Torrington Place used to run westbound, but in 2015 they made it eastbound. To be honest, I rarely ever drove on Torrington Place whenever I got my badge, which kind of signifies how useless it is as a road. But now that Gower Street's two-way, it now makes it a bit more accessible, and there's actually some good use cases for it, particularly when you're set in Euston Station. Where we're on Upper St Martin's Lane, we have to get out of Covent Garden, so we go right Cranbourne Street, right into Charing Cross Road. Now, as we come up to Cambridge Circus, we get ourselves in the right-hand lane, so we can get a right into Shaftesbury Avenue, work our way up into Bloomsbury Street, forward ourselves into Gower Street, and we can work our way up to Torrington Place. Now, we can either take the direct right into Torrington Place, or we can go right Keppel Street just to cut out that traffic lights at the top there. Right Torrington Place, then left into Gordon Square, and it is just so easy to cruise along Gordon Square, up Gordon Street, and that sets you up perfectly for Euston Station. Like I say, before Gower Street became two-way, this route wasn't possible. And even better is setting at Euston Station. You can see there's a massive pile of people who all want cabs. Yes. So quite quick to drop off and then go service that queue. There's a young lady at the front with a little bit of luggage and she wishes to go to Loveridge Road. I've never heard of Loveridge Road. Couldn't put it. I question her a little bit further and it's kind of midway between Kilburn and West Hampstead Station. So I head up in that direction. It's one of those routes that you can do in a multitude of ways. Marylebone Road. And I'm going to get right into Balcombe Street. We go past Marylebone Station, get ourselves right into Harewood Avenue. As you go up Harewood Avenue, you eventually hit Rossmore Road, so you have to use that to get yourself out to Lisson Grove. And then from Lisson Grove, it's a straight line all the way up to West Hampstead Station. Lisson Grove briefly becomes Grove End Road, and then it becomes Abbey Road, site of the most unpredictable zebra crossing in London. Obvious reasons. Carry on up Abbey Road, past the aptly named Snowman House. And that then becomes West End Lane, where you get points like the Ackhole Bridge Club. Do a left onto Iverson Road, which takes you past West Hampstead Station. Right Ariel Road, left Loveridge Road, and she just wishes to be dropped there. Nice. The only issue with being up in Kilburn, West Hampstead area is that unless you're lucky on the apps, there's bugger all work about. So I come back down Kilburn High Road, which is generally a bit naff until you get to this bit near the start of Maida Vale. And one of the sort of first opportunities you get to pick up organically in this area is from the Marriott Maida Vale. And past, there's no one there. I go down Maida Vale a bit, but I cut through St John's Wood Road. Maybe there's something going on at Lord's. There's no one there. And I'm thinking, right, I'll come down Park Road, past the Regent's Park Mosque, and down into Baker Street. And it's here where I'm able to pick up the next job.
Queensway, yeah, hop in.
Pure knowledge in action. I love this. Just gets in, gives you a rough area, and I know instantly I've got to turn right at these lights. Depending whereabouts on Queensway might determine how I set it, but I find out we're going to the bottom of Queensway, right near Bayswater Road. As a result, I'm going to come down Sussex Gardens. Other ways of running this is coming along Bishopsbridge Road, and you can come in near the top of Queensway, you can come down Inverness Terrace and back on yourself. This way will work fine for us, I'm sure. So, Marylebone Road, bear left, Old Marylebone Road, forward Sussex Gardens, around the bottom of Sussex Gardens. By Westbourne Terrace, right Bayswater Road, right to Queensway. sorted. And then as always, from here, I'm just wanting to be heading back to the West End direction. So just all the way along Bayswater Road, through Marble Arch and onto Oxford Street. No hand goes up and I see there's a bit of a space on the Selfridges rank out the front. This ain't a bad place to sit because this rank generally always moves, especially at this time of year. And if a customer wants to go in any direction, you can very neatly spin round without having to do a 3-point turn. It just makes your life a little bit easier. Eventually, I get the bread and butter of all bread and butter jobs, Selfridges to Harrods. I'm not even going to explain the run, I'm just going to draw this on the map as quick as I can. Bish, bash, bosh. And I'm quite lucky that as we get down to Harrods, the rank is completely empty. You can see there's loads of people waiting outside.
There's even a Prius in the rank. Look at this.
It's quite remarkable really, because I waited at Selfridges for probably about 5 minutes or so for a job. And there was a few cabs in front of me. You come down to Harrods and there's no cabs about. Awesome. I ensure that when I'm dropping off that I'm not blocking any other cabs who might want to get on the rank. These people just want to go to the Park Plaza Waterloo. Initially, I'm thinking I'm going to go around the back of Harrods, but I can see there's quite a bit of traffic building up there. So I skip that idea and I think, you know what, I'm just going to go up towards the barracks like I should have done. So I get right into Montpellier Street, work our way out onto Trevor Place, and then right into Knightsbridge by the barracks. Super clear today, so we can run it all the way through, forward into Knightsbridge, and it's one of those routes that I love penning up on a map. Just look how straight and organic this route looks. So we peel left onto the Hyde Park Corner slip road, go around Hyde Park Corner, down into Constitution Hill, past Buckhouse, past the Wedding Cake, and we get ourselves out onto Birdcage Walk. Birdcage Walk, sit in a couple of lights here because these aren't really that great of lights, and we go through into Great George Street. From Great George Street, it's a forward into Parliament Square. As we're sitting here on the lights, look at the time of day. It's 9:15 at night. It's one of the things I love most about working summers in the cab is that it's a lot easier, it's a lot more energising, rather than in the winter when it gets dark at 4 o'clock. You don't really feel motivated to work, and it can be quite a bit more of a stress to work. Straight over Westminster Bridge, say hello to Queen Boudica as we go over. Forward Westminster Bridge Road, get a right into Kennington Road, and then right into the little forecourt for the Park Plaza, setting them down there. Nice. Dropping off around 9:30, I think we're firmly in that slack period. You know, that time when people are in restaurants, theatres, etc. So I use this as a good time to go to the Iron Lung, quick convenience break, and inadvertently start heading back towards the West End. At the very top of Whitehall, just in spitting distance of King Charles I Island, I have this hand go up and they wish to go to Claridge's. Super easy stuff. We just go around King Charles I Island, up Cockspur Street, past the Brazilian Embassy and the Kazakhstan Embassy, bear left on the Pall Mall, where we go past those gentlemen's clubs on the south side, right into St James's Street. On this particular run, I take a left into Bennett Street, past the Blue Post pub, right Arlington Street, which very neatly sets us up for the forward, into Dover Street. Dover Street, we get the forward, left Hay Hill, right Berkeley Street, around Berkeley Square, we go up Davy Street, turn right into Brook Street, and we drop Claridge's there. After leaving the drop off, I then head round and I'm on New Bond Street. Very quickly realised New Bond Street isn't the place to be at this time of night, but to get ourselves into the Soho area, I head towards like the London Palladium area, Great Marlborough Street, Knoll Street, end up coming down Berwick Street into a bit of Soho, and I find this job here
I've got me one.
who wishes to go over to the Marylebone area, specifically Rodmartin Street. Sits kind of neatly between Baker Street and Gloucester Place. I always like those little runs when you're stuck within this one-way street because you have to kind of figure out your exit, how you're going to get out of the little maze that you found yourself in. So it's always just a little bit of fun. In this case, it's just right Broadwick Street, right Poland Street, and that pulls us back out onto Great Marlborough Street. From here, I'm going to go forward into Maddox Street, forward Grosvenor Street. We get that right onto Davy Street, going past Claridge's again, left Brook Street, past the Argentinian Embassy, and then we get a right into Duke Street. Now this visual representation will show you the importance of having lights on your bike at night. This guy is practically invisible, look at him. Always needs to be so tuned in London, always. Up Duke Street, and then we can work our way into Manchester Square. Manchester Square gives you loads of options, and there's plenty of different routes here that you can do to cut the traffic lights out. In our case, just going to leave it on Manchester Street, left into Blandford Street, and then set the gentleman right into Rodmartin Street. Leaving Rodmartin Street by Dorset Street, I come down Baker Street and I don't have to go far before I pick up the next job outside of the Royal China Club. These people just want Big Ben. At this time of night, I'm just going to slap it on all the big roads. So Baker Street, Portman Square, Orchard Street, forward into North Audley, right into Green Street, peeling us out onto Park Lane, Constitution Hill. We're going to go back to Birdcage Walk. Super clear, look, there's no one here. I've literally never got through it this easy before. And then forward into Great George Street. There you go, there's Parliament Square. We can drop them there. At this time of night, there's still going to be a lot of theatres kicking out. So it's a 50-50 whether I head to the West End or go down to Victoria. For some reason on this shift, I headed towards the Victoria direction. You can see the sheer amount of people outside of Hamilton who are trying to get home.
It's not really a great place to stop, is it?
And I'm quick to pick up this job on Victoria Street, right by Sir Simon Milton Square. These people want to go to the Threadneedles Hotel in the city. Been a while since I've been over to the city, so nice surprise for us today. I've just got to work our way back round that Victoria Jar tree and we get ourselves into Buckingham Palace Road. From here, I'm going to be taking that same Birdcage Walk for the third time today. And it just shows you, 10-15 minutes later, look at all the traffic here. Thing is, it's not a very good light sequence, so it doesn't take much for this set of lights to build up. Some of you in the comments might be saying, well, Tom, why don't you just use a sat-nav? The issue is that sat-navs are only good when you've got a large amount of data points. As there's probably only 6 cars in this traffic jam, 2 might be using Google Maps and 1 might be using Waze. And that's not enough to quantify if it's a reasonable traffic jam. In fact, check this video out over here. I made a video about why sat-navs aren't that great to use in a taxi. You'll find out more over there. From here, we just pull it through Parliament Square and we're going to get ourselves out onto the embankment. There's probably going to be a bit of traffic heading out, but it's not too bad this evening. And then we're going to peel left on that slip road right by Unilever House. That allows us to go forward into Queen Victoria Street. We can keep going forward all the way through to Bank Junction as we're long past the 7 PM restrictions. And I'm going to take us out onto Cornhill. Where Threadneedles Hotel is, it's a one-way from Bishopsgate. So I've got to come around and back on myself. Out Cornhill, left Bishopsgate, left Threadneedle Street. Set down on left. This time of night, it's a great place to be out east. I can hopefully progressively make my way westbound. And on Queen Victoria Street, there's a lady here who helps with that mission. She wants to go to Drury Lane, just within Covent Garden. In terms of the route, we'll go Queen Victoria Street. We're going to go St Paul's Churchyard, over Ludgate Circus, forward into Fleet Street, Strand, work our way around the Aldwych, and we get the right into Kingsway. Check out these menaces of rickshaws. London's just lawless. I mean, do what you want. Right Kingsway, left Kemble Street, and she just wishes to be set on the right here. Easy. I go up Drury Lane, and at the junction of Great Queen Street, I see one of my colleagues acting a little bit strange. So much so, he just stops the cab directly in front of me. He leans his head out the window and says, "Oh mate, is my light on?"
Yeah, it's on, yeah.
Presumably he's been empty for a while and just wants to know if his light's on. I mean, my test is I just look to see if you can see the light in the reflection of a shop window or something. But I work my way into St Giles High Street and I get this couple here. They hail me down and they specifically say they want to go to Poland Street, Tottenham Court Road. So obviously I know that Poland Street and Tottenham Court Road are 2 different places. Then they're not next to each other. So which one do they want to go to? Tottenham Court Road or Poland Street? So a bit of quizzing, and then it turns out that they're staying at a hotel on Poland Street. As we get driving, I just say, look, obviously Poland Street links onto Oxford Street. Do you want me to just drop you on the junction of Poland Street and Oxford Street? Absolutely fine with this. They understand that because of where it sits, it's a bit of a workaround to get directly to the door. So might as well just drop them on the corner. Easy as that. I'm gradually working my way west. This is working. To be honest, I've had a pretty good week out in the cab. And it's Friday, it's getting towards the end of the week. I don't want to stay out late on a Friday because I've already worked hard for the rest of the week. And to be honest, seeing all the empty taxis coming towards me doesn't fill me with a lot of hope anyway.
Maybe you just moved over to a TXC, who knows? Oh, hello.
Luckily, quite near Bond Street Station, I grabbed these gents who wish to go to the Victory Service Club. Nice, easy, and it's going to be pulling me west. I love cruising down Oxford Street at this time of night because all the shops are shut, all the pedestrians are gone, and it's just cruising your way to victory. In this case, the Victory Services Club. We just get a right into Orchard Street, left Portman Square, forward our way into Seymour Street, cross over Edgware Road, and set down on left. I'm done with that. They were nice enough gents. That's a great end to my shift. Let's just head west and get home. If this is the first shift video of mine that you've seen, well, this is actually part of a full working week in the cab. The other 4 videos are over here. I'd highly recommend checking them out and possibly re-watching them if you've already seen them once before. See you again soon. Bye bye.